This is the Ruckus and the Menace.
Challenge accepted. No.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games!
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go. There it is.
There's a winner.
Look at that.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
Ruckus and the Menace fam, how's it going? You are listening to episode 170 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Spence the Menace, and I am still feeling the effects of the wild card roller coaster.
Honestly, I feel like I'm going to puke after that many roll arounds. At least I know I would.
Loops, corkscrews. Oh, man. You know a good roller coaster when you see one.
I haven't experienced many Six Flags roller coasters, but
forget Six Flags. Six Flags overrated. Overrated.
it's probably better than whatever the fuck World of Fun is in Kansas City, Kansas.
Man, it's kind of nice when I live 2 hours away from peak King's Dominion. King's Dominion. Oh yeah,
I don't have a fucking clue what King's Dominion is, so you'd have to let the audience know.
It's another theme. It's another theme park down in Doswell, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of right near where I was about a couple hours out from it, and I went to King's Dominion a lot as a kid. So,
yep, and I went to Worlds of Fun as a kid, and my favorite ride was the Mamba, but honestly, that park has been so deteriorated, it might as well not be functional, but I digress. Let's keep going.
Yep. And on this episode, we're going to get right to it with the Eastwood segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Here we go. All right. What is good this week, Spence? Do you want me to elaborate?
I was gonna let you take it away here because we have said new challengers have arrived for the college football playoff, as we're not dealing with the usual suspects, as Oregon was knocked out.
Quack,
it is
quack,
Indiana
quack,
and Miami.
quack,
Miami
quack,
kind of hasn't been a usual suspect for a while, but
they're the freaking
Indiana
Hurricanes. A hurricane will take down a duck no time. It'll go whack, 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 whack. All right, that's my sound effect for a duck getting yeeted by a hurricane. Anyways,
did you catch what I did though?
No.
You were doing the quack and I was doing the
Oh, I didn't hear that shit at all.
Duck hunt, anyone?
I was going to make a duck hunt reference, but let's be honest here.
I was doing it in the form of sound effects.
All right, we digress. New challengers have appeared for the college football playoff, and I think Indiana might have one over the Hurricanes, but we'll just see what the Hoosiers have in store. I'm excited. It's good because you saw Michael Irvin on the sidelines going apeshit and just doing what Michael Irvin does. Indiana, I am hoping they make it interesting against the U. We'll just see what happens on next Monday.
But
so
we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that on 171. You'll hear me first. Anyways,
I was going to say we got more on the college football playoff and even our predictions here a little later.
Yep.
My bad this week is I've got some scolding to do for my Red Sox, and MLB free agency has not been kind.
You have the floor.
Magic Touch. What will we do in free agency? Nothing. Because Boston has signed absolutely nobody in free agency. No one.
Who do they have
There's
on
been a
their
couple of
staff that's
trade.
actually relevant?
Wait, are you talking our front office or are you talking actually our players?
Players. I don't give a crap about your front office. It's more about the
For
talent as far as the players on the field, anyways, to make it to where it gives a damn for the people that manage
Derek
that talent.
Crochet, Sonny Gray. I mean, we just traded for Sonny Gray. We just traded for Wilson Contreras, Jaron Duran,
Jaron Duran hasn't
Sada,
gone anywhere.
Sadan Rafaela, Trevor Stewart. I mean, we have relevant players and a rather young team in a farm system that has just recently gotten a good amount of their players promoted up.
Maybe they are trying to balance young with old because Sonny Gray, I'm pretty sure they probably took on the contract with the Cardinals whenever they traded him, and his contract was pretty big. But
Yeah, but I'm saying at the
also
same time, we just lost Bregman.
you could get someone way better than Bregman.
I
That
mean,
was also way
you,
better than
you have
Devers. Like, let's be honest here. You got young talent. You can figure it out. And if you need a free agent, go for it.
Bregman was producing in Boston though.
Dude, he was
producing in
producing
Boston, and Boston wanted to keep it.
he was producing with the Astros as well. So
No,
like,
no, I get that. No, I get that. That was the reason why Boston eventually got it.
I don't think
But
he's worth his twilight years though.
yeah, I mean, it was 5 years, 165 was what we offered, and the Cubs only offered 10 million more and stole him away. I mean, Bo Bichette's still on the board. Eugenio Suarez is still on the board. If Boston can get one of them, preferably for me, I would prefer Bo. But
I think Bo would be
if
a
Boston can get
better suit for the AL East in general because the Red Sox are in that same network with the Blue
yeah,
Jays. The only problem is
yeah,
one's Canadian and one's near the Canadian border,
yeah,
but not as near.
Bo's a bigger need. I think Bo is the younger player, but I think Eugenio position wise is the bigger need.
I think
Unless we
he
move
turns it.
a player like Marcelo Meyer to third.
I think Eugenio Suarez turns into what Adrian Beltre turned into when he went to the Rangers. Because when you put Eugenio Suarez in a Red Sox uniform, I feel like you don't get as much production. Kind of like with Pablo Sandoval or something like that. Like, I don't think he does well against a monster. He is more of a guy that hits the ball far, but someone that you don't want to just hit off the monster all the time and then get found out for that. If you catch my drift.
But I mean, it's a high left field wall. But most of the time, if it's bouncing off the monster, it's typically two bags every time.
Depending on how the defender feels at the end of the day for the defending team, that may or may not be as good, which is something you risk, but yeah.
But I'll let you go ahead and take care of the ugly.
All right. So let's get straight to the ugly this week. So for this week, we have the Cardinals paying the price for trading Nolan Arenado to the Diamondbacks, as they are paying more than 2/3 of the remaining remaining 42 million of the deal. It probably feels more like 402 million, but anyways, the Cardinals dealt with the same hand that the Rockies gave to them, which was to get Arenado to the Cardinals. It was about pretty much the rest of his contract with the Rockies that he signed the year prior to getting an extension just to get to the Cardinals. And now the Cardinals are doing the same shit, but paying the price to get the Diamondbacks to actually get rid of Nolan Arenado at an older age, mind you. And I don't know where to begin with this. Like, maybe they are trying to get a 1 or 2 year deal worth of contract out of him because of just his age and his experience. Who knows?
Maybe a song title from Kendrick Lamar would say something of this, of poetic justice.
Maybe, or maybe he
Just throwing a theory out.
maybe he is trying to get people to squabble up over in the Diamondbacks country with the rattlesnakes. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
Oh,
Anyways,
you ready to move? We ready to move?
Yes, please. Thank God.
Okay. All right. So the semifinals of the college football playoff are complete. The U stuns Ole Miss 31-27 as Carson Beck throws the game-winning touchdown with less than a minute to go, and Indiana is playing their best version of Duck Hunt, and the dog ain't laughing. He's got the duck in hand as the Hoosiers defeat Oregon 56-22.
If anything, Indiana played Duck Hunt like if the ducks weren't actually ducks, they were just like clay pigeons that they just shot in there and then just went their way with it. But that's all I had to say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm picking up what you're putting down here. But we have some burning questions involving the college football playoff. And Ruckus and I got kind of a little bit of agreement, but we may not be on the same page. Does the college football playoff need more teams in it? It is currently at 12.
As Kylo Ren once said, more!
And if so, how many more to you would make sense?
Enough to where it actually makes sense to get more advertisements, to actually put more money and capitalism gain into bowl games and help the country of the United States of America with sports like it was meant to be, but in a more makes to where the point it makes sense rather than just being like, oh, here's an NIL deal here, NIL deal there. If you're gonna go willy-nilly with that, you might as well like take advantage of it in a good way rather than just be like, oh, well, this random guy over here in the March Madness. No. Make it to where it makes sense and you have enough money to capitalize on this rather than just go willy-nilly. That's all I have to say about that. Just enough to where the teams don't fuss and then it becomes a whole thing because of gambling or because of, oh, they got exorbitant deals from other things. Like, make it make sense. That's all
You simply are just going with the simple phrase of a deal here and a deal there. Here a deal, there a deal, everywhere a deal. And the NIL in there had its farm, E-I-E-I-O.
But
yes, I just called the NIL Old McDonald in this case.
But here's a question there. Who's Old McDonald in that point? It's sure as shit not Trump.
I didn't go that far into the theory. But where I am going with this is that the college football playoff, I agree, could use a little more.
I think there's also should be well, if we were talking about restrictions, speaking of that for the transfer portal, how do we regulate that, or should we put that in another episode where we just put that? Because I think that'd probably be a better episode rather than what we're going for just how many teams need to be in the college football playoff.
Well, you kind of hijacked where I was going with this.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say that if you consider the other levels of college football, the FCS has 24. And Division 2 has just extended to 32, and Division 3 has 32. So most of these teams, if they're playing all the way through, have 5 games. But also Division 2 and Division 3 seasons are shorter. So
Bring him up to speed then.
well, let me finish here. So too many games on a college football schedule is going to have it feel a little too much like they're already moving into NFL territory. So yes, I could see them maybe going a little more. 16 maybe the maximum that I would say is about right. Because high school, if you go all the way to state, most of the time it's generally going to be 14. 14 games. College football, yeah, these people can play 16. And you go to 17 in the NFL. So it would make sense to say 16, maybe no more than 20. But even then, you kind of have to push back into the bowl season and have more bowls be considered college football playoff bowls, as opposed to bowls that are kind of like, we might do this. But does an expansion change mandatory conference involvement for teams that make it in? As right now, it looks like it's just, say, at least one of the Power Five, a few at-larges, and some of those at-larges are a group of 5 teams. Are you changing any of that? Or are you just going to put the 20 best teams out there and we fight it out to the death?
I think if anything, we add I don't know if this would just add more fuel to the fire or add oil to the fire or whatever, that it could be worse than just adding fuel to it in a sense, whatever definition that would be. But if the Big 12 had more people or had more teams, and the Big 10 and whatever SEC happened, like maybe that would help. But I feel like you would need to add more money and funding to those conferences in order for that to maybe factor in. But I don't know. I feel like the people that have the money could figure that out mentally and potentially be like, oh yeah, we could add some market value to how we advertise things and this and that, and make it more viewable for those stations. I get it, but I don't know.
Oh, college football, the hardest thing is that you basically have 2 major super conferences that have all of the talented schools. They are the Big 10 and the SEC.
Didn't they
You
also have the
splash in
Midwest Conference too, like and some other conferences that no one gives a shit about anymore because of
Yeah, there's a
what
lot of
you're trying to
smaller
put?
conferences, but I'm talking where all of the highest end schools are. You've got them, you've got those 2, you've got maybe a splash of talent in the ACC, a little bit in the Big 12, but it's the Big 10 and the SEC that are the super conferences pretty much. If you're going to have more requirements, you really need teams to move away from the bigger conferences and divide out that power. But is that going to happen? Not with that kind of money flying around over to those bigger conferences. So, I mean, we're talking about some moot points here.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a whole lot of other issues that come about other than just the college football playoff and talking about the transfer portal and NIL and all these other things. And they've just opened up cans of worms that they really didn't need to.
Yep.
And on that note, let's move to our film room
Sounds good to me.
and start out with picking a 10-pointer. Currently, right now, I am up by 12 on Ruckus. Going into the national championship / division week of the NFL. But for the Natty, 10 points. Indiana, the U. Who you got?
I got Indiana Hoosiers because I think it's between the Hoosiers and the Hoosiers. With I think Indiana pulls it off, but it'd be insane if Miami just like pulls a Houdini and gets it going, and then I just see Michael Irvin on the sideline just taking the belt off and just going ham on a trash can. Like, my God, that'd be hilarious. Anyways, let's keep going. Go ahead.
I am also in agreement with the Indiana Hoosiers. I believe that Kurt Cignetti is now a new icon in terms of college football head coaches making a name for themselves.
Head coach of the Ravens. Just kidding.
I don't think he'll. I don't think he moves. I don't think he moves from college football yet. But Cignetti he's under the Saban camp. He's a former WVU quarterback. I'm rooting for Indiana. But now that we've gone from college, we now can move on to the NFL, as last week was wild card weekend. And it was nothing short of crazy. And the matchups went as follows. The Rams defeated the Panthers 34-31 in another back and forth game.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Oh man, I was watching that, and the Rams had to win that one late.
As they do.
I think that, well, and I think next round might not be so favorable for them but I think the Panthers are tougher customers than what their record lets on. And they showed it because the Panthers beat them before and they nearly had it again. Later on Saturday night, the Bears rallied back.
That was an interesting
from
one.
18 down to beat the Packers 31-27. And the Packers look solid that they're the youngest team in the league.
They had a solid defense.
But the Bears taking on the highest seed of the remaining could bring matchups that could provide problems. And the Bears are number one in turnovers against a high-octane offense. That's going to be a good matchup between the Rams and the Bears.
I thought with Love's just in general quarterbackness, it wasn't as great for the Packers. But anyways, let's keep going.
Oh, yeah. But Love has been a combination of questionable consistency. The Bills and Josh Allen going into the phone booth and turning into Superman beats the Jaguars 27-23. But I am more pleased with the Jaguars and how they performed. They fought tooth and nail to stay in it.
They made me actually interested in football for once after the Chiefs soiled it. Soiled it! Soiled it!
What are you saying, the Jaguars or the Bills?
The Chiefs.
As far as the interest. Oh, no, I'm saying the interest. Like you were saying, it was like it kept your interest after the Chiefs soiled it.
Well, I would say when the Jaguars lost, yes.
Yep. And now and then to the 4:00 game, the 49ers stunned the Eagles 23-19. And the Eagles offense, I thought, just sputtered out at the wrong time.
I think they had a sock left on AJ Brown's back, and they forgot to actually say, "We have a 23-19! We have a 23-19! We have a 23-19! We have a 23-19!" I could go on.
But the 49ers continue to show that they are not in the Weenie Hut Juniors camp and belong in the salty spittoon that is the NFL playoffs, as they continue to show how tough they are. After once again, as they lost George Kittle to a torn Achilles. And I feel bad for Kittle. But at the same time, the 49ers just continue to be tough.
I don't know what the
And it makes
hell is the 49ers identity. It feels like it's Terminator 2 or something similar where it's like you get some guy that looks innocent and he tells you to take off all your clothes so that he could wear them, and then he just like apparently magically helps Sarah Connor. And I feel like that's what the 49ers are. It's like they're reincarnated into robots because, I mean, that defense was magical, but also, how the hell is Christian McCaffrey healthy at this point?
with
At
all the
some
touches he's added on, he was up over 400 touches before the game. Even
and then the Eagles turned into the Terminator Salvation movie, which was just like, uh-oh, we regressed a little bit after the Super Bowl. Oh no, what have we done? And the 49ers were like, dun 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 dun. Just straight up, just like, like, we're here for business.
Yep. The next game Sunday night, as the Patriots beat the Chargers 16-3. It's all of a sudden it's like we had 4 banger after banger after banger. And then this game was just nothing but burger
It's like
after burger
it's like Sunday Night
after
Football.
burger.
It's like Sunday Night Football turned into Amazon Thursday Night Football for some reason, where it's like no one gives a shit because these two teams are horrible or whatnot, or they're just boring to watch against each other, and it's just like, Patriots, yeah, you did enough to beat the Chargers, but the Chargers kind of like beat themselves. Like, they pulled a bender trying to get more charge than he's used to and just got high off of it.
We waited all day for Sunday night just for the Chargers battery to die.
I'm sorry, Carrie Underwood, but that's what happened this Sunday night.
Oh no, I was just saying, come on, Chargers. You came out flat.
And it's not even with the help of Justin Herbert. Like, he was beat the shit up, but goddamn, just watching that game was painful. Watching the highlights was more painful. Just trying to figure out what happened between the Chargers getting their ass kicked and the Patriots actually doing something. Let's move on.
And then the very next night, Monday Night Football, Houston's defense just decided to go 10 toes down, stand on business, and punish the Steelers for making turnovers with scoring points.
They also
2
stole some of the
defensive
water from the
touchdowns.
river
All 3 of them at that point.
with that 10-gallon hat of theirs over there in Texas.
But you realize that a 10-gallon hat would hold less than a gallon of water.
Shh. Shush. Let's keep going on before I go make
Yep.
an ass of myself.
All right. And now we move on to picking the film room or picking the film room games for the NFL Division Series. And we will be kicking off with Saturday evening, the Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos at Mile High.
All I know is I might crash into a table at some point, and I'm going with the Bills. Let's go Buffalo.
And I am going to take Buffalo as well, not because I do not believe Denver can do it, but I am more of a believer in what Josh Allen has been able to prove himself to be able to do as a quarterback. And then at 8 p.m., round 3, 49ers, Seahawks.
I have a feeling
Who
the
win?
Seahawks are going to beat the snot out of the 49ers, but I just don't know how. But I just feel like it's going to happen, and then they're going to be like, yo, by the way, we're the NFC champions, and we're going to take out the other NFC champions and kick their ass and take names. And I'm Sam Darnold, and I approve this message.
I believe it is going to be a matter of snuffing the Niners out by limiting Christian McCaffrey. Because that is about all they would have left, minus receivers coming out of nowhere and doing things. So I'm taking the Seahawks as well because the Seahawks have a little bit more on the table, or a little more to bring to the table. And then Sunday afternoon at 3, Texans, Patriots at Gillette Stadium.
I feel like it's going to be the Texans mainly because their defense just seems more just up to date and responsive versus the Patriots were just like they just exist and they're just there to like kind of raid or do whatever.
It will come down to how Nico Collins recovers from concussion protocol. But I am going to take the Texans defense in that they are number 2 in causing turnovers. And I believe that they can cause Drake May, who has been minimal in making mistakes, into giving up some turnovers. And then at 6:30, the Rams and the Bears at Soldier Field.
No bias whatsoever, totally right me, but I think it's totally going to be the Bears because not only are they younger and they have some legendary talent on the offensive line and also legendary talent on the defense. I think they have a better edge on the Rams because the Rams have some hurt players, especially Matt Stafford with his throwing hand. We don't know what's going on with that at all costs, but Nakua and the other guys need to step up. But other than that, like that was the only hiccup I saw with the Rams whenever they were playing their last game, which is
It
hiccup between
looks
throws.
It looks like it is currently just a sprain on the index finger of the throwing hand. No concerns going into the divisional at that point. I am going to, my heart says Bears, but I am going to take the Rams here simply because I think the Rams offensively are still going to be mightily effective, even in the cold of Chicago. And the biggest thing that the Rams have to do is put the Bears away early. If they can do that, and make the lead very difficult and a tough hill for them to climb, I think they could do an incredible job and win. The only difference is that the Bears are number one in forcing turnovers. So it will come down to playing mistake-free football for the Rams to pick up the win and limit the amount of turnovers that they do. And now we move on to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, take it away.
All right. My dud of the week is going to start with Aaron Rodgers' final season. Could be a NFL turnout that was probably predictable at this point in time, knowing just how long it's been since he was without the Packers and then went to the Jets and blew out his ACL and then had his journey with the Steelers and that didn't
You
pan
mean a
out.
torn Achilles?
Yes, sir. Anyways, I think this could be the end for Aaron Rodgers, and it happened in such just a horrible way.
And
But
his last play that he threw a pass on was a pick six.
that too. Thank you. Thank you for that information. My stud for this week is going to be Indiana, as they could make history if they win the whole enchilada and not just like Napoleon Dynamite's quesadillas he would get from his grandma or aunt or whatever. You don't just need to make a goddamn quesadilla. You need to get the whole enchilada, Indiana. Let's go. I got the Hoosiers, obviously, from earlier, but let's go, Spennis.
My stud goes to Bears quarterback Caleb Williams for remaining resilient in the face of adversity as the Packers held a double-digit fourth quarter lead. And Caleb Williams throws 2 touchdown passes in the final 5 minutes to beat the Packers, survive, and advance. My dud goes to Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla for pulling a wannabe Marshawn Lynch repetitive statement interview. And I'm saying this as Marshawn Lynch, about 10 years ago, did the "I'm here so I won't get fined" interview. But this one was a little worse because the only thing that he said, and it was as petty as possible, illegal screen to every single question that was asked to him following a loss to the Pacers over the weekend. And now we move on to our color commentary, staying in the NFL, as we begin to throw some questions about the teams that were eliminated and fell out of the playoffs, or at least the ones that just got knocked out. And we start with Saturday, and talking about the Carolina Panthers. Has Jalen Coker stepped up and performed to become the wide receiver 2 of the future for the Panthers?
I guess he's more of a Gabe Davis for the Panthers, but other than that, I don't have much opinion on this. That's more for you, Spennis.
I think he is showing it. And this game here, I'm thinking just like a Gabe Davis, this is a coming out party for it. 9 receptions, 134 yards, and a score in a game that mattered entirely. I mean, Tenero McMillan's the number 1, but he needs some help. And I think Coker has stepped up and become a reliable receiver that Bryce Young, who just got his 5th-year option picked up, is going to be able to have as a receiver that he can rely on. Now we go to the Packers. And the question here is Matt LaFleur still the right coach to lead the Packers to the Super Bowl?
I think if you want to rate the season for the Packers, I think even if LaFleur existed with the Packers or didn't, I think you would have rather had LaFleur there because of just his expertise. And I don't know who the fuck else could actually fill that role quicker than what Matt LaFleur could do. I think Matt LaFleur could get to the Super Bowl, but I just don't know what outcome would have to happen for them to have a successful season later on. Like maybe like find another quarterback or just hope that Jordan Love is healthy. Like I don't know what else to tell you about that.
I'm going to say that I think he is steadily not becoming the right coach because he got deep runs very early in his coaching time at Green Bay. But note, there's sometimes where you fall off the cliff and the patience begins to start to run out.
Yeah. I think you're right.
This is the youngest team in the league. But it's a matter of, does LaFleur still have everybody in the locker room? Is everybody buying in?
I think most people are. It was just I think it was just bad luck because you had to get rid of, or not really get rid of, but you had injuries with Jordan Love, and then you had to deal with Malik Willis. That was kind of a mixed bag here and there, but even then, when you brought Jordan Love back, it wasn't the same as what it was before because he was still dealing with injuries. They're just trying to see how he could deal with some setbacks while also playing a full game of football, and obviously that didn't work.
Now we move on to the Jaguars. How much of a benefit was trading for Jacoby Myers for Duval offensively?
It helped kill a contract for the Raiders for sure with Jacoby Myers. I think, if anything, they benefited in a sneaky way rather than a obvious way because most people thought that if Jacoby Myers was going to get traded to the Jaguars, it was just more of a, I don't know if you would say an upgrade over Christian Kirk or if it was just more of a, we need a guy that can, that is young and still on his rookie deal to play for us and produce. And I guess that helped them offensively, but not enough to get them to where they beat the Bills. But hey, Jacoby Myers actually did a thing with another team, and that gives you proof that he is good as a wide receiver. Just what kind of momentum do you think he would bring to a future team?
I think he brought more to Jacksonville in terms of a hustle to block, being able to make critical blocks to get ETN out into space.
Do you think he would have been better than DK Metcalf if Jacoby Myers was a Steeler?
I think you're comparing two different types of receivers because I think DK Metcalf at times can be a D1 crash out. George Pickens is more of that, but
I just don't
George
know
Pickens is more of that.
But Pickens
I think
also
Jacoby
is
Myers,
not on the Steelers. But what I was saying was mainly, would Jacoby Myers be a better wide receiver one at catching the damn ball than DK Metcalf? That's all I was wondering on your end.
I think you're comparing DK Metcalf on a Steelers offense that was Artie Smith handicapped, as opposed to Jacoby Myers going into a healthy offensive situation with Liam Cohen, and Jacoby Myers was getting targets. Other than the first game that he only had 3 targets, here were the amount of targets he had in the remaining regular season games. 6, 6, 6, 10, 7, 8, 9, and 6. So he's getting consistent targets. And then he was also targeted in the playoff game. It was a lower number there, but ETN was moving the ball well. He only had 4 targets in the playoff game with Buffalo. As there were as Parker Washington was stepping up.
Yep.
And becoming a valid wide receiver. But I think Myers being in the lineup helped Parker Washington step up further. Because teams now have to account for 2 good wide receivers in Jacksonville now. And that opens door. And sometimes when you have to target 2 good wide receivers, a third one becomes a very good open target. Good open target, especially if he could take advantage. Myers, I think, just made that wide receiver room in Jacksonville better. Simple as that. The next question here is about the Philadelphia Eagles. How do the Eagles in particular proceed in retooling and underachieving offense? Yes, we can ask this question about multiple teams that didn't make the playoffs. But we are talking about the Eagles in particular. Ruckus, where you at?
I have how do they address the wide receiver room, because Devontae Smith was shaken up near the end, and AJ Brown clearly, even though he bitched about not being open all the time or being used all the time, even when he was, especially in this game, he would try to catch it and then fail, and you're just wondering what the hell is going on with the Eagles. Well, a number of things. The running game was also not great for Saquon. Like, it was decent, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the same as what he would normally do from last season. The same happened to Pacheco for most of the season for the Chiefs, but I don't know what you do with the offense. I don't think you get rid of Jalen Hurts. I think whatever you do, you try to draft well in the offensive range of things for the Eagles to try to make it better for them offensively. I don't know if it's like wide receivers or if it's just running backs. Like, who knows? Their offensive line could probably also get a little bit of an upgrade, like get some depth pieces to make sure that your offensive line doesn't suck ass later on down the line like the Chiefs did. Anyways,
And
I digress.
I'm going to say that you could have all of the most effective parts in a high-powered car. But if you're giving it an engine that is not pushing it to the proper limits and giving it enough power, how far is that thing going to go?
Probably not very far.
It's not exactly. So the main piece, Kevin Patullo, has been fired. And I think that is the first step, because the Eagles had all of the right parts, all of the right power, all of the right pieces to be able to say, this thing is going to go. But they put the wrong engine in. They put the wrong engine in, something that's gonna bottleneck it. it basically was bottlenecked to the point that it was very restrictive in what it could run. Is this going to ultimately lead to a trade for AJ Brown?
Probably.
Possibly. I think it's possible, but I think it's going to more so be that if they do get rid of AJ Brown, they're going to flip it for assets. I think you flip him for assets. You flip him for assets. Smitty becomes the number one, and they eventually develop a receiver to eventually take AJ Brown's place.
I think if anything, they
Or
do
they
what they
draft a
did. Maybe they do something that the Rockies did to the Cardinals, where it's like, okay, we'll give you this wide receiver for this amount of draft picks. That could happen. We've seen crazier shit happen in the Big 26.
I mean, AJ Brown was traded to the Eagles for a certain amount of picks that were flipped too. So
I think it was just the first round pick, and it was Treylon Burks, and he did not pan out. That's what I remember.
Look here. Yeah, so it was for the number 18 and 101 overall picks. The Titans drafted Treylon Burks, and the Burks didn't necessarily do well in his career.
He also was hurt most of his career too, from the professional side.
Yeah, I mean, and look at where he's at now. He's probably I think he may have possibly earned himself a contract, a little bit of an extension with the Commanders at this point for Treylon Burks.
Maybe though.
Maybe, yeah. It's possible.
That's like signing Elijah Mitchell to a $10 million contract and then not getting anything out of him. Chiefs.
Yeah, but I mean, Burks got a spectacular catch out of that cheap contract. But I think that Burks is going to be a big enough wide receiver that Jaden Daniels could find something for him as far as getting the ball out to him there in the future. But that's a side note. But as far as that, I think it's just they've already started the process. They've got the line. They've got the quarterback. They've got the running back. They can do a little bit of retooling with the wide receivers if necessary, if possible or necessary. But they don't have to do too terribly much. Just build healthily around and supplement with good pieces in the engine. Like, it's mostly like just changing out some screws and pistons and like little things. And just finding an offensive coordinator that can put a scheme together that can maximize the potential for players like Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Devontae Smith.
You make it sound so easy to the point where anyone could do it, though.
It's honestly that it's a lot simpler for the Eagles to do it because they have the pieces. They have the pieces there. They're just missing. They're missing the engine to make it run.
What is that engine?
An offensive coordinator that can maximize Jalen Hurts' mobility, Saquon Barkley in the running game, and be able to capitalize and work effectively with multiple ranges of receivers and tight ends, which just about any offensive coordinator, it's pretty straightforward for offensive coordinators to be able to do something. It's just a matter of, is this going to work for every single piece? Patullo, it didn't, but Kellen Moore, it did. And I think too many Eagles fans were booing because Patullo was not putting and maximizing the potential of their offensive players. Simple as that. The next one here is, how can the Chargers establish an offensive identity that is consistent? Or at least more so, not so much established, but I think it's really expand the passing range.
I don't know what happens between the Chargers because they had Hampton, they had Keenan Allen, which is, let's be honest, like the Adam Thielen of wide receivers at this point, just old. Quentin Johnson didn't really help all that much. Not other than Joshua Palmer because he eventually went to the Bills, but I don't know how you manage to rebuild, or not necessarily rebuild, but just like rehash what's going on and try to keep things glued together. I think if anything, you maybe sign a backup tackle or draft one or whatnot and go from there. But as far as the LA money goes, you gotta overpay somewhere. But I think Khalil Mack is probably going to retire at some point. He just hasn't thought about it yet. But who knows? Who really knows what's going on with the Chargers?
Okay. So the Chargers, a lot of their receptions for touchdown, a good amount of them, you've got Lad McConkey, who is a dink and dunk wide receiver. Your wide receiver one is a dink and dunk receiver. Quentin Johnston had a good start to the year, and he's the home run guy. Aronde Gadsden's the tight end. Trey Harris is kind of starting to come into that. Another bigger play wide receiver. Omarion Hampton's a receiving back. Kamani Vidal can do a little bit there as well. But I think Quentin Johnston, if you're going to run him on the split, you need another split wide receiver. And Keenan Allen was just a little too old to do that. Lad McConkey's a slot guy. He's going to be your little mesh concept wide receiver. And Harbaugh is a very West Coast style offense to begin with. His receivers don't have a lot of receiving yards. They don't have 1,000-yard wide receiver. I mean, Herbert threw for less than 4,000 yards because they're not taking advantage of Herbert having the stronger arm that he does. I mean, some of that also was Herbert getting hurt, but Herbert does have a pretty good deep ball. And I don't think it was taken advantage of enough.
I agree with that because, like, especially like even when we played in the Brazil game, I felt like there was something missing, even besides just what Mahomes was dealing with. But like Herbert's like game plan at that point in that game was short passes and just making sure that they could beat Mahomes, and Mahomes just kicked his own ass. Even with Xavier Worthy, because even then, that whole mess of offense was not great. But even then, not to discount the Chargers, but they had the right game plan at the beginning, but they just didn't know how to enhance it like the Eagles do with their tush push. Like, they could have just been like, okay, we'll just throw it this way. Because, like, on Madden, even when I noticed with the Bills, they would do short throws, and it was so sophisticated it was crazy. Just like what the Chargers did, and then yeah, it
No,
just
it's you
kind
dink
of
and dunk. Dink and dunk only gets you so far down the field. But when dink and dunk, if they're going to collapse in and do the underneath stuff and press on it, what's the one thing you got to do? Stretch them back out. You got to stretch them back out. Get vertical. And I believe the Chargers lack a wide receiver with enough speed to get vertical. To get vertical.
they could go Darius Davis though, to be honest.
Yeah, but they mostly use him as a kick return. Mostly use him as a kick returner. I think they're going to draft that wide receiver
Do you
that is a
guys
burner that can
do you,
get vertical.
do you guys want a spoiler? Because I'll give you a spoiler. During my first Chargers Super Bowl race, which was the first one I ever did, Darius Davis did all the work. Darius Davis did most of the work. You heard it right here, folks. All right, let's keep going.
I mean, I had for my first one, it was Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley. I had a lot of receivers that could do a bunch of different things. And the Chargers just have a lot of possession guys that can do a lot of the small stuff right now. They need to expand the field.
Yep.
And last but not least, with Mike Tomlin recently stepping down,
Rest
what
in
style
peace.
of coach did the Steelers bring in for their fourth head coach for the franchise since 1969? Yes.
John Harbaugh.
Go home, you're drunk.
I'm already home and I'm a bit tipsy.
Point taken.
How about
Oh my gosh. But I'm gonna say that I think they go
Matt Nagy? Matt Nagy.
I'm gonna say the Steeler identity is generally a very defensive coach that will bring an offense that is more smash mouth than anything else.
All-star or
Tough as nails like a tough personality. Like the coach of the Steelers has to have a little bit of an edge, but I think also is a person of integrity like Chuck Noll. You have good integrity with a stone cold tough persona on the field as well. And that's exactly what Cowher and Tomlin and Noll brought themselves to be. Noll in terms of character and integrity, Cowher in terms of toughness, and then Tomlin, I think, was just a solid balance of what a true Steeler identity coach was. And the Rooneys are very patient with coaches because every coach that's been there over the last almost 70 years has been there for over a decade. Chuck Noll was there for 2 decades. Cowher was there for a decade, and Tomlin was there for almost 2 himself. So you're going to have a little bit of job security with the Rooneys, especially if you do well.
I got nothing to also add to that. Let's keep going.
Yep. All right. And now we will move on to our lights, camera, action segment where we get to talk a little bit more about what we've been watching and what we've been playing. Ruckus?
Okay, so mainly I'm gonna start with watching right now because I've been rewatching Breaking Bad, and I want to revisit other shows like Sopranos, but Breaking Bad brings back some pretty good memories from high school and whatnot, and just watching that back in the day, but also just watching it all the way through just to make sure I didn't miss some key plot points. But other than that, Breaking Bad still is kicking ass. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Arc Raiders, way too much, someone would say. But I've been playing it with our friends of the podcast, Salty Waters, mainly, and a military friend that I will keep nameless. And then there's me, which I've been playing way too much of this game. And I'll admit now, I probably have like 60 hours in this game, and most of that was negated because I fell asleep while having the game in the background, which I will admit, oopsie. But other than that, Arc Raiders is a lot of fun. You should check it out. And my favorite part is when I play solos and people that I run across are just like, "Oh, friendly, yeah, totally friendly, yep, yep, yep." And the only way to tell versus a friendly and a non-friendly is if they really just don't realize that their gun is out. Like, if it's not hidden, maybe that's a sign, but there's a lot of trolls out there anyways when it comes to squad games to where you just die anyways. But anywho, Spanish, go ahead.
Yep. Okay, so what my other half and I have been watching together is we've been watching the trailers season 4 in terms of both instances of the British and American versions of the show. And seeing the differences between the two versions, I like the fundamentals of the British game better, but the chaos that comes about from the American game is so good. As Alan Cumming, I think, is that cryptic, chaotic host, that the show truly needed. I haven't really done too much on my own, but as far as what I've been playing, I've been on an RPG kick lately. And Ruckus, I am now finally finished with Expedition 33. Platinum trophy and all.
Good for
I mean, in
you.
Xbox, it just turned Xbox, it's more so just maximum gamer score. PlayStation, it's platinum trophy. I platinum trophied the
Good
game.
for you. That's
You
all I'm gonna
say this
say.
like as if it's a ho hum type of thing.
It is a ho hum type of thing because the same shit happened with Xbox with the gamertag score stuff. But should anyone care? Sure, buddy.
I mean, I don't usually go for the platinum trophy, but I like all of a sudden looked and realized I'm like, wait a
Oh
minute, I'm closer than I thought.
no, it's a problem. Oh no, it's a thing. Okay, okay, okay. What did we say, buddy?
I was like, I didn't realize how close I was to it, so I just went and did it. And I just say I don't usually do so. And then I've been doing Baldur's Gate 3, and earlier today I started playing some older game as well. I went back to 2005 with Fire Emblem Path of Radiance as it made Switch 2 online expansion pass for the GameCube, and I started playing a couple of chapters on that, and I am enjoying that game as well. And I plan to play more Fire Emblem games here a little later on in the future. Um, as far as my new PC, I haven't gotten to get back into anything on that yet, but I will be playing more Indiana Jones and the Great Circle soon so that I can finish that up. It's just I think I haven't really had like a desire to go back to it for the moment, but It's there and ready to go for me whenever I get to it. And now we round third and are headed for home. And the first one here is that the Wizards traded for Trae Young. I think my thoughts on this are Trae Young hasn't played a game yet, but I think what he does, it'll make the Wizards better, especially with them being such a young team. The
I
next one is
mainly
go ahead.
all I have to say for the Wizards Trey is good for Trae Young. That's all I have to say. Let's keep going.
Yep. Mike McDaniel was also fired by the Dolphins, and with Mike Tomlin stepping down, the head coaching vacancy total is now 9. Your thoughts on Rob Schneider or NFL Logic getting fired?
Boo freaking who. Bad management equals bad times.
I mean, when he was coming up, and all of a sudden people were thinking he was good.
I think he would
He's
be really good,
a couple
but
years.
the problem is when you have a guy that mainly just dealt with equipment rather than players. The problem now is just like, who do you trust? The general manager that spent exuberant amounts of money on players that may or may not perform to their peak over what they have or what their age is? Like, let's be honest here.
He sadly ended up becoming like actual Logic in his rap career. Logic started out really good and relevant early, but then all of a sudden there came a point in time where he got corny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened with Mike McDaniel. And last but not least, the Orioles announced a promo with a Tupac bobblehead on May 8th against the Oakland Athletics. Was this on your 2026 bingo card?
I didn't care for it to be on my bingo card because it's almost like as extreme as like having the Grateful Dead event for the Royals. Like, did anybody give a shit about the Grateful Dead back in the day for the Royals? Hell no, but we decided to make it a event, and that apparently stuck for a couple of years, but we've had weirder events, but I digress.
Hey, the Grateful Dead, I mean, that is a old Element Fusion rock band.
But also, Tupac is also old at this point in 2026, the big 2-6.
Yeah, died too young, and the only reason why the Orioles did it is because Tupac had 4 years living in the Baltimore area. That was about it. But the fact that they took advantage of that and decided to do it, that was not on my bingo card.
Neither was mine, but again.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know exactly the significance of the Grateful Dead to Kansas City because I did not see that promo when it occurred.
Honestly, I don't give a shit about the Grateful Dead, but maybe I will of older age. But at the same time, like, honestly, I have no ill will towards the Grateful Dead. I just don't understand the culture of it, and I wish to. So there's my apology to the Grateful Dead. But other than that, I'm Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And I'm Spedus the Menace, and that will do it for episode number 170 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. Until the next one, hugs and hand pounds, everybody.
Deuces.